Caravaggio, and the Church. Michelangelo Merisi da Caravaggio's relationship with the Catholic Church was marked by a complex and often conflicted interaction, reflecting the tension between the artist's boldness and the conventional expectations of the religious institution. Throughout his career, Caravaggio experienced an ambiguous relationship with the Church, alternating between accepting ecclesiastical commissions and facing rejections due to the provocative nature of his works. In the early stages of his career, Caravaggio found support and sponsorship in the Catholic Church. His innovative and realistic style attracted the attention of clergy and ecclesiastical collectors, leading to commissions for religious paintings. His ability to capture humanity and emotion in sacred representations provided a unique approach to religious art, breaking away from Renaissance traditions. A notable example of this early patronage was the commission for the Contarelli Chapel, where Caravaggio created works such as the conversion of St. Paul and the Supper at Emmaus. These innovative paintings, using chiaroscuro to highlight the emotional intensity of the scenes, were initially well received by the Church, signaling a promising partnership between the artist and the institution. However, Caravaggio's relationship with the Church began to deteriorate as his artistic audacity and choice of provocative themes sparked controversies. The painting Judith Beheading Holofernes, a graphic and visceral interpretation of the biblical theme, exemplifies this conflict. The brutal scene and realistic representation of the decapitation act were deemed excessively shocking by both the Church and the society of the time. The artwork generated not only moral criticisms, but also led to the rejection of the painting commissioned for the Justiniani Chapel. This was one of the early signs that the Church, initially receptive to Caravaggio's talent, was beginning to question the limits of his artistic expression. The painter's boldness confronted established traditions, challenging the conventional view of sacred art. The controversy reached its peak with the Death of the Virgin, a monumental painting portraying Mary in a realistic and emotional manner, diverging from traditional idealized representations. The work was initially commissioned for the Church of Santa Maria della Scala, but the institution rejected it, deeming it too realistic. This rejection marked a turning point in Caravaggio's relationship with the Catholic Church. The refusal of the Death of the Virgin heightened existing tensions, leading to a moral condemnation of Caravaggio. Ecclesiastical authorities began to question not only his artistic choices but also his personal conduct, fostering a negative view of the artist. The conflict with the Church, combined with legal issues stemming from his tumultuous life, led Caravaggio into a period of voluntary exile. During his exile, Caravaggio sought reconciliation with the Catholic Church. In letters sent to clergy and ecclesiastical patrons, he expressed remorse and the desire to return to Rome for redemption. The correspondence reveals an artist tormented by conflicts between his artistic vision and the Church's expectations, seeking a way to reintegrate and be accepted. Caravaggio never returned to Rome. His death in mysterious circumstances in 1610 occurred while he sought a papal pardon that would allow his return to the city. His premature demise put an end to the tumultuous saga of one of the most controversial artists in art history. The posthumous assessment of Caravaggio by the Catholic Church was complex. Despite tensions and the rejection of some of his works, his lasting impact on sacred art and influence on subsequent generations of artists cannot be ignored. Over the centuries, the Church, to some extent, reconciled with Caravaggio's innovative vision, recognizing the artistic value of his contributions, even if they challenged established norms. Caravaggio's relationship with the Catholic Church represents a unique intersection between artistic boldness and the traditional expectations of the institution. His complex trajectory reflects the constant clash between the artist's creative freedom and the social and religious norms of his time. Caravaggio's legacy, transcending the controversies of his life, is a testament that even amid conflicts, art can be a powerful force that challenges and eventually shapes the institutions that contest it. Caravaggio's legacy. Michelangelo Merisi da Caravaggio a revolutionary painter of the Italian Baroque in the early 17th century, left a lasting impact on art that transcended his own time. His stylistic boldness, realistic approach, and emotional expression had transformative effects, shaping the course of art history and influencing generations of artists over the centuries. Caravaggio pioneered the chiaroscuro technique, using intense contrasts between light and shadow to create dramatic effects. This innovation not only provided three-dimensional depth to his paintings, but also highlighted the emotional intensity of the scenes depicted. His masterful use of light and shadow extended beyond technical elements. It became a powerful narrative tool. Moreover, Caravaggio challenged aesthetic conventions by portraying sacred and mythological figures in a realistic and emotionally raw manner. His models were often ordinary people, bringing about a radical humanization of sacred art. This innovative approach resonated in how art represented the divine and influenced the public perception of spirituality in art. Caravaggio's impact on art is best understood within the context of the Baroque movement. His realistic and dramatic representations influenced Baroque aesthetics, which aimed to express intense emotions and create visual impact. Baroque artists like Gian Lorenzo Bernini and Artemisia Gentileschi incorporated elements of Caravaggio's style, propagating his innovation and redefining aesthetic standards of the time. The stylistic transition triggered by Caravaggio was not confined to Italian Baroque alone. His techniques and approaches were adopted by artists throughout Europe, contributing to the evolution of art on the international stage. His impact was not limited to a specific moment. It laid the groundwork for a lasting change in the visual language of painting. Direct followers of Caravaggio, known as Caravaggisti, embraced and expanded his unique aesthetic. Painters like Bartolomeo Manfredi, Orazio Gentileschi, and Giuseppe Ribera became part of a school of thought that continued to explore the principles introduced by Caravaggio. The spread of Caravaggism demonstrated the enduring strength of his contributions as a lineage of artists kept alive the innovative tradition he initiated. Caravaggio's influence extended to both sacred and profane art. His innovative representation of religious themes, often shocking and emotional, changed how the sacred was portrayed in art. The realistic and dramatic approach was particularly effective in communicating biblical narratives, bringing the divine closer to human experience. Furthermore, Caravaggio left his mark on everyday scenes and profane portraits. His penetrating gaze into human truth and psychological explorations influenced how subsequent artists represented the world around them. Meticulous attention to detail and the ability to capture emotional essence became central elements in the evolution of portrait art and everyday scenes. Caravaggio's legacy goes beyond the 17th century. His impact resonates through generations. Artists from the neoclassical and romantic periods onward continued to be influenced by his techniques and artistic conceptions. The emphasis on emotion, dramatic lighting, and realism continued to inspire various artistic movements over time. Painters like Edouard Manet, Caravaggio of France, and 19th century Caravaggisti, nicknamed due to their affinity with the Italian master, absorbed and reinterpreted the innovative elements introduced by Caravaggio. This influence demonstrates the timeless nature of the Italian painter's artistic vision and his ability to transcend historical boundaries. In the contemporary era, Caravaggio's work undergoes constant critical reassessment. Art academies, historians, and curators continuously review his legacy, highlighting not only his technical contributions but also his role in transforming the role of art in society. The contemporary perspective often emphasizes the psychological complexity of Caravaggio's works and how they challenge the aesthetic and moral norms of his time. The provocative nature of his representations still sparks discussions about the relationship between art and power, religion, and society, showing how Caravaggio remains a focal point in the analysis of art history. The lasting impact of Caravaggio on art is undeniable. His contribution to stylistic evolution, influence on the Baroque school of thought, and continued inspiration to modern artists underscore the immortality of his artistic vision. Caravaggio's ability to translate human experience onto the canvas, his technical mastery, and his courage to defy conventions set a standard that transcends time, ensuring that his legacy continues to inspire, challenge, and enrich artistic practice for generations to come. Contemporary analysis highlights Caravaggio's unique ability to explore psychological complexity through his representations. His figures are not mere portraits, but deep emotional narratives. This psychological approach still resonates in an era where art is valued not only for its aesthetics, but also for its ability to convey complex narratives and provoke reflection. Caravaggio's challenge to the established norms of his time, evidenced by his choice of common models for sacred figures in the realistic representation of religious scenes, remains relevant in contemporary analysis. This is especially significant in a context where art continues to question and challenge social and cultural norms, seeking a more authentic and inclusive expression. The controversies surrounding Caravaggio during his life and afterward are the subject of ongoing debate in contemporary analysis. The confrontation with the church, moral criticisms, and rejections of works trigger reflections on the role of art in society. Our contemporary discussions often explore how art can challenge norms, provoke dialogue, and influence cultural change. Contemporary analysis also focuses on the rescue and reinterpretation of Caravaggio's works, discoveries of new paintings attributed to him, or the reinterpretation of existing works add layers of meaning to the understanding of his legacy. This artistic excavation approach highlights the richness and complexity of his contribution, resonating in the quest to understand the context and intentions behind his works. Contemporary analysis often places Caravaggio in his historical and social context, seeking to understand how his works engaged with the circumstances of his time. The investigation of cultural significance and influences that shaped his representations helps contextualize his legacy, connecting it to broader currents in art history. Caravaggio's bold and sometimes shocking representations trigger contemporary discussions about ethical limits in art. Questions about the artist's responsibility regarding the representation of controversial themes, as well as the relationship between art and morality, are often explored in light of Caravaggio's artistic boldness. Organizing exhibitions and retrospectives dedicated to Caravaggio in renowned institutions highlights the ongoing value attributed to his legacy. The popularity of such events shows how the contemporary audience continues to be fascinated and engaged with the work of the Italian master. For contemporary analysis of Caravaggio's legacy reveals a vibrant and constantly evolving artistic heritage. His stylistic influence, contributions to emotional narratives, and his ability to challenge norms continue to resonate in contemporary art. Moreover, critical analysis also highlights the ethical challenges and complexities associated with artistic representation, providing a rich dialogue between the past and the present. Caravaggio's legacy remains alive, inspiring and provoking reflections in an era that values diversity, authenticity, and innovative artistic expression. Conclusion. Michelangelo Merisi da Caravaggio, one of the undisputed masters of Italian Baroque, has left a unique legacy for posterity infused with raw realism and intense drama. Born in Milan in 1571, his life was marked by vivid contrasts, both in the palette of his paintings and in the circumstances that shaped his tumultuous existence. Caravaggio emerged as a revolutionary artist, rejecting Mannerist traditions and embracing an aesthetic that celebrated human nature in its rawest essence. His works, often characterized by intense play of light and shadow, stood out for the vivid representation of biblical and mythological themes. The chiaroscuro technique, accentuating the interplay between light and darkness, imparted psychological and emotional depth to his compositions. Caravaggio's career was permeated with controversies and conflicts. His provocative themes, often depicting religious figures in a naturalistic and even vulgar manner, challenged the artistic and ecclesiastical conventions of the time. This led to frequent clashes with religious authorities with some of his works being censored or rejected. Caravaggio's personal life did not escape turbulence. His temperamental nature, coupled with involvement in fights and disputes, led to constant legal troubles. The artist lived in exile for much of his life, facing accusations of murder that sometimes directly influenced his artistic production. Despite adversities, Caravaggio found patrons who recognized his genius. Cardinal Francesco Maria del Monte, in particular, played a crucial role in his career, providing financial support and protection. Under this patronage, Caravaggio produced some of his most acclaimed works, such as The Rape of Europa and St. John the Baptist. His influence extended beyond Italian borders, reaching other Baroque masters and subsequent artists. The innovative character of his paintings, combined with the emotionality contained in his representations, inspired a new generation of artists eager to explore the boundaries of artistic expression. Caravaggio's premature death in 1610 concluded a life marked by tumult and passion. The mystery surrounding the circumstances of his death, occurring during his attempt to return to Rome after a period of exile, added a tragic epilogue to the narrative of a man whose genius shone brightly but whose existence was constantly eclipsed by shadows. The richness of Caravaggio's work lies in its ability to transcend temporal barriers and continue to resonate through the centuries. His mastery in capturing the human condition, with all its beauty and cruelty, remains a lasting testament to his contribution to art. Caravaggio, the cursed painter, has left us an artistic legacy that continues to challenge and inspire, reminding us that true genius often emerges from the intersection between light and darkness. And thus, we delve together into the fascinating universe of Caravaggio, exploring the contours of genius that shaped Baroque art. If you too have been captivated by this journey, I invite you to become part of this passionate art community. Subscribe to the channel to not miss upcoming artistic explorations. Leave a like if this journey has been inspiring, share with friends who love art, and of course, comment below sharing your own impressions and suggestions for future videos. Together, we will continue unraveling the vast world of creativity. Until next time, and thank you for being part of this artistic journey with me.
Art.